Hi, I am Weston. I love talking about the Astros, and I'm here to talk about Game 68 of the regular season. Astros win 10-2 over the Chicago White Sox. Man, oh man, I did not expect this game to happen. Point blank, I did not think the Astros were going to put out a statement like this. The Astros went out against probably the best team in the American League and absolutely crushed them under their thumb. This was a statement. The first 8 pitches were a statement for the Astros. If you told me that this was going to be a blowout, I wouldn't have believed you. I thought going into it this was going to be a very close game separated by a run or two. If you said blowout, I would have assumed maybe 6-3 or something like that. I wouldn't have assumed the Astros were going to drop a 10 bump on one of the best pitching staffs in the league. And also only allowed 2 runs against one of the best hitting staffs in the league. Anyway, I'm going to talk about that in a bit. Immediately getting started, Jose Urquidy got the start tonight. He was pretty darn good. I will talk about that later on. First inning, Jose Altuve, infield hit. He's running like he as good as he ever has. Jose Altuve is back to his old ways. I'm going to talk about him in a little bit as well. Chas McCormick grounds one to third, but the second baseman can't pick it, so it's first and second, no outs. And then Michael Brantley comes up, drives one deep to right field. It is gone. It is 3-0 Astros. No outs in the first inning. On the first 8 pitches, the Astros scored 3 runs. They were on pace. They were scoring an average of a run every 2.5 pitches. It was madness in the first inning. The Astros came out with a massive statement, and it was fantastic to see. Again, also nice to see Michael Brantley getting in on the offense. He's usually a get on base for the other guy. He's not usually a home run guy, and he was smiling, which I didn't realize Brantley could do. He's always been sort of the Greinke-esque type, where he just sort of is always the same emotion, the Terminator, for lack of a better term. After that, though, Yuli would ground out, Yordan would strike out, and Correa would strike out, but you scored 3 runs. I'm not going to be mad about scoring 3 runs. I say that. I will 100% in the next year or so have an inning where we score 3 runs and then somehow complain about it, because that's who I am anyway. Third inning, Chas McCormick, a fantastic diving catch. He would actually have another one of those later on. Chas McCormick, man, he is off to a very good start. I was totally flabbergasted by this. He has like a 130 OPS plus this year, which blew me away. Like, I did not realize he was having that good of a season offensively. He's doing very well. Someone asked, or more of said last night on my video, Chas over Springer. Now, I think it was partially a joke, right? I think it was partially a meme. And if that's the case, that's whatever. I kind of agree this season, because Springer has not played all but like 4 games. I think overall, if Springer was healthy, I don't think it would be particularly close. That being said, I think Chas McCormick can kind of split the difference between George Springer and maybe Jake Marisnick. I think he can have better offense than Marisnick, and maybe split the defensive between Marisnick and Springer, or the offense, and then defense maybe around Jake Marisnick. He's very exciting to watch right now, and he just seemingly is getting better by the game, which is fantastic. I was concerned about the outfield going into this year, and he has, in the limited time he's been playing, has like a 130 OPS plus, like I already said, on pace for 30 home runs. He's having a very nice season. Chas McCormick is sneakily a very, very good player, and I was not expecting that this year from him. In the fourth, the Astros would tack on 4 more runs. Yuli would walk. Yordan would get hit by a pitch. Nothing wrong with it. It wasn't like intentional or anything. I just want to say that because I don't want people who didn't watch the game to be like, oh, you got hit by a pitch. What happened? It was just like up on the tricep, I would say. It was a completely unintentional thing. It happens, especially since there's no more sticky stuff now in baseball. Did you see that the RPM spin rate has dropped like 400 RPMs over the past week? I wonder what could have changed. Anyway, he would get hit by a pitch. Correa would double to make it 4-0. Toro would single to make it 6-0. Straw would strike out, but Toro would steal a base, and then a wild pitch would move him over to third in the Straw at bat. Castro would walk. He had a pretty nice night. Jose Altuve hit a sac fly to make it 7-0, and that was about the end of the fourth. In the sixth, Chas McCormick, another insane diving catch. He's madness. He's great, and it's so good to see. The White Sox would, however, score a pair. Then, in the bottom half of the sixth, I don't know what to say. You know what happens? Jose Altuve, he steps up to the plate, and Jose Altuve does what apparently Jose Altuve does now, which is go yard, because that's all he's done in the month of June, is hit dingers. Altuve, another one. He's hit 8 in his last 10 games. He's hit 4 in the last 3. One of them was a walk-off grand slam. He's unhuman. He's just... I don't know what to say. Altuve is incredible. The Astros tied the MLB record for most multi-home run games consecutively with 10. And Altuve now is first among AL first basemen in on-base percentage, weighted runs created plus, and tied for home runs. He's second in isolated power because Jose Altuve is a power hitter now. Because that happened, he's on pace for 42 home runs over a 162-game schedule. Because Jose Altuve is a power hitter, I guess. Anyway, like I said, second in isolated power, second in slugging, second in WAR, and second in expected weighted on-base average. Jose Altuve, man, he needs to be an all-star. I don't think he's going to be voted the starter because fans are very, very petty. I think he'll be a reserve. Because, like, for a while there when he was, like, second and third in a lot of categories, it's like, yeah, well, he might not be. I think at this point he has to be, right? He can't have this good of numbers, right? Where you're starting to creep up on hitting 20 home runs by the All-Star break for Jose Altuve. That's not impossible now. He only needs 4. This is 4, apparently, in my mind. 4 between now and June or July, like, I think 12th or 11th. I think the 11th is the last game. So realistically, he just has to hit 4 more in the next, like, 3 weeks, which he's hit 4 in the last 3 games. So that's very, very possible. I mean, Jose Altuve, man, he is back to his old self. He's splitting the difference, I would say, between, like, his 2019 version of himself and, like, the other versions, because he's still beating out infield hits, but he is hitting for a little bit more power, which I'm perfectly fine with Altuve hitting 30 home runs in a season, batting around 300 and an on-base around 370. I'm totally cool with that. It's fantastic. In the 7th inning, Yuli Gurriel would single, Jordan would strike out, Correa would fly out, Abraham Toro hits another home run because the Astros have turned baseball into their personal home run derby to make it 10-2. In the 7th, also Jose Urquidy would be pulled, and I want to say something about Jose Urquidy, right? The last time he pitched, he gave up the 3 home runs to the Minnesota Twins in, like, the 5 innings. And I'm like, yeah, it happens, you know. That's what happens when you have guys like this. They throw a ton of strikes. They're going to give up hits a lot. They're going to give up home runs because they're throwing a ton of strikes. Tonight, Jose Urquidy had one of his best games that he's realistically probably ever played for the Astros. It was fantastic. 7 innings, 2 runs, I think only 1 walk. He was magnificent tonight. And that's what you get. You get guys like him who just pounds the strike zone. And when you face an aggressive team like the White Sox, you're going to get ahead in counts a lot. He very rarely, up until like the 6th and 7th inning, he was just not getting in, 2-ball counts or 3-ball counts. He was ahead of almost like every count. For a while there, of like the 80-some pitches he threw, almost 70 of them were strikes. He was just not throwing balls. He's said in the past, a quote, something to the effect of, I prefer throwing strikes because that makes the game go quicker, which is just such a Zach Greinke quote. It's hilarious. But tonight he really demonstrated that. He was just filling up the strike zone and did wonderful doing so. Tonight he finished with, 93 pitches, 69 of them were 69 of them were strikes. And he was incredible tonight. I have nothing bad to say about his performance anyway. Again, that's what happened in the 7th for the Astros and Urquidy being pulled. After that, we brought in Bielak. He had a nice inning, and then we brought in Garza Jr., and he had a good 9th inning. And that was it. The Astros were fantastic tonight. I already said it. This is not how I expected the game to go. Not at all. I expected a close back-and-forth game. Maybe they traded 1-run innings occasionally. I didn't expect a blowout. I would like to venture something, which is this was the best all-rounded game that the Astros have played this year. The starting pitcher was fantastic. The relief pitchers were fantastic. The offense was fantastic. The defense was fantastic. And the depth, a.k.a. Abraham Toro, was fantastic. He had 4 RBIs tonight on 2 hits. Yeah, 2 for 4, 2 runs, 2 RBI, or 4 RBIs. He was fantastic. The depth, the starters, the pitching staff, top to bottom, was fantastic. And the defense, like I already said, had 4 outs on batted balls with a 500-plus expected batting average. 2 of those were Chas McCormick playing robbery. This was dominance by the Houston Astros, and this is, I'm going to say, their best well-rounded game of the year. And I don't think it's particularly close. This was phenomenal to see. And not just that, this was their best well-rounded game of the year against maybe the best, and if you don't say the best, the second best team in the American League. The team who a lot of people think could be the ALCS matchup, or the ALCS preview tonight, of Astros versus the White Sox, which I could very well see. I could also see it being a rematch of the Astros and Rays. But this was domination from the Houston Astros. Every single player was just incredible tonight. So I'm going to do some pitching lines, then we'll talk about the offense a little bit more in depth. Jose Urquidy, 7 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, and 5 strikeouts. Again, absolutely fantastic for Jose Urquidy. I have nothing bad to say about that night. Brandon Bielak came in, 1 inning of work, no hits, no runs, no walks, pair of strikeouts. He was really good himself. And Garza Jr. came in, 1 inning of work, no hits, no runs, no walks, and a strikeout himself. Again, pitching staff, magnificent. Offensively, the Astros, pretty darn good. 10 runs on 8 hits. They had quite a few walks. They had the hit by pitch for Jordan. They were great. Altuve, 2 for 3, 2 RBIs, the sac fly, scored a pair of runs. Magnificent for him. McCormick had a run. I think that was on the error that he would score. But again, defensively, he was really darn good. Brantley had the 3-run shot. Yuli had a pair of runs tonight and a pair of walks, which is great to see him raising his on-base percentage. Jordan had a walk. I thought he had 2 hits tonight, Jordan. I guess he only had the 1. Toro, again, fantastic. 2 for 4, 4 RBIs, 2 runs. He was great. This was just such a great game for Houston. And I want to quickly find Altuve's numbers over the last, 15 games, because they're pretty just ridiculous. Yeah. Over his has that updated? I don't think it has updated yet, which is a bit of a bummer. Over his last 3 games, he has 6 hits, 4 home runs, and 8 RBIs. Jose Altuve, man. He's magnificent. Over the last 30, he has basically a 400 on base, a 310 batting, and 12 home runs. He needs to be an all-star, man. This is fantastic for Houston. This just gives you so much hope going forward. This is a statement win, and hopefully they can do another one tomorrow night. Speaking of which, tomorrow night, Astros play the White Sox again, second game of the 4-game series, 8:10 Eastern, 7:10 Central. We will have Luis Garcia on the mound. They will have Rondon. I'm going to call him Rondon. I'm pretty sure that's incorrect. Garcia rolls in with a 2.98 ERA. He rolls in, Rondon, with a 1.89 ERA. So could be a pretty decent pitching matchup. I'm certainly looking forward to it. And I will be here after that game. So that is all I have to say for tonight. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe and hit the bell. Thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic day. And as always, go Astros.